Ikizidi sana, waoneshe kwa vitendo kama unavyofanya. Hustler Nation inakufurahia sana.
You keep walking, and with the support and the prayers of these men and women of God, you shall get to where you're going.
Kanisa ile ambaye amechangia tuwezi hesabu, ako karibu na sisi, na ndio maana tunampenda.
Hiyo maneno tuachane naye, tushirikiane, tuamue vile tunataka kwenda mbele kama Wakenya in a democratic manner.
They said it was unfortunate that some leaders were not aware of the challenges youth were undergoing in the country in the wake of COVID-19 outbreak.
In other matters, Garissa Governor Ali Korane has been released on a 3.25 million shilling cash bail or an alternative of a 5 million shilling bond with a surety of a similar amount after denying 233.5 million shilling graft charges. In granting bail, Chief Magistrate Douglas Ugoti said he had considered the fact that there was no loss of money disclosed in the charge. Korane has also been barred from accessing his office until the matter is heard and determined.
Garissa Governor Ali Korane has joined the list of county chiefs who have been restricted from accessing their offices over graft allegations. Korane was on Tuesday morning arraigned at the Milimani Locust in Nairobi over alleged embezzlement of 233 million shillings from the World Bank under the Urban Support Program. Korane and 4 other county officials who appeared before the Anti-Corruption Court Chief Magistrate Douglas Ugoti were charged with conspiracy to commit an offence of economic crime, willful failure to comply with laws related to the management of funds, and misappropriation of public funds. Korane and his co-accused Ibrahim Malo Noor, Mohammed Ahmed Abdullahi, Abdi Shale and Hamed Abdullahi Eden denied all the charges. Lawyer Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi, who represented the governor, asked for the court to give the accused lenient bail terms. In granting bail, Chief Magistrate Douglas Ugoti said he had considered the fact there was no loss of money disclosed in the charge and released the governor on a 3.25 million shillings cash bail or a 5 million shillings bond.
All accused are hereby barred from their offices, only allowed to visit while accompanied by an officer from the EACC. They should not make any attempt to approach or interfere with any witness in whatever form. This will lead to automatic cancellation of bond terms. Accused 1 to a cash bail of Kenya shillings 3,250,000 or a bond of Kenya shillings 5 million with one surety of similar amount.
Korane has also been barred from accessing his county office and ordered to deposit his passport in court.
All accused are hereby barred from their offices, only allowed to visit while accompanied by an officer from the EACC. They should not make any attempt to approach or interfere with any witness in whatever form. This will lead to automatic cancellation of bond terms.
The other 4 county officials were granted a cash bail of 1.2 million shillings each and also barred from accessing their offices.
To matters COVID now, the Ministry of Health is warning political leaders against making mockery of the coronavirus pandemic by engaging in campaigns that may help fuel the spread of the virus. The ministry said it was unfortunate that political leaders had thrown caution to the wind and are behaving as if it was business as usual. The warning came as the country recorded 10 new fatalities, 7 which had no underlying conditions, with 96 people testing positive for the virus from 3,270 samples tested in the last 24 hours. Purity Musel reports.
Following public uproar after political leaders trooped to rallies for their 2022 ambitions, the Minister of Health is warning the move is reversing gains made so far in the fight against the deadly COVID-19 disease.
We do call on to our leaders to support us in creating that culture that we do need to adhere to these measures.
The ministry lamenting that the rallies were making a mockery of the coronavirus pandemic and unfortunately that as role models they were taking the country through a dangerous path.
The curve is not flat. What we are seeing are reporting fewer numbers And we have not stopped at telling you, yes, we understand that our testing is at an all-time low, and it is because of the global supply chain challenges we are facing with testing kits.
The ministry saying coronavirus was real, that to date, 36,301 cases have so far been confirmed. In the last 24 hours alone, the ministry indicated that 96 cases were confirmed from 3,270 samples tested. Sadly, over the similar period, the country recorded 10 deaths, out of which 7 had no underlying conditions, a pointer that all are at risk.
There are many kinds of coronavirus, and the one that we're dealing with seems to have effects beyond the respiratory system. This means it seems to have effects beyond your chest, beyond the coughing. It affects other, organs. It's a multisystemic sort of type of virus.
Nairobi accounted for the highest number of cases, recording 26 cases, followed by Kisii with 10 cases. Busia recorded 8 cases. Mombasa, Uasin Gishu and Kisumu, 7 cases each. Machakos 6, Kericho 5, Kilifi 4, Samburu, Nakuru, Kajiado and Kiambu counties registered 2 cases each, while Bomet, Embu and Kakamega reported single cases.
From our cases today, all are Kenyans except for 4 who are foreigners, and in terms of gender, we have 70 of them being male and 26 of them being female, with the youngest being a 5-year-old child and the oldest being 81.
121 new recoveries were recorded during a similar period, bringing to 23,364 the total number of patients who have recovered from the virus since April 1st. Cases cleared on Tuesday included 97 under the home-based care program, while 24 from health facilities. The Ministry of Health says that the country was still struggling with the first wave of COVID-19 disease and asked whether Kenya was ready for a second wave of the coronavirus. It said no, and the only way to avoid this was by Kenyans strictly following the containment measures proven by scientists to be preventive measures on the spread of the deadly virus. Purity Museo, Channel 1 News at Afya House, Nairobi.
Media coverage of court proceedings in Kenya is expected to improve and strengthen the relationship between the fourth estate and the judiciary. This follows the launch of a handbook by the Kenya Editors Guild that seeks to empower journalists to accurately report judicial matters and avoid legal pitfalls.
Court reporting has been hailed as one of the most important dockets in news media organizations. However, despite the freedom of access to information, journalists have time and again found themselves facing legal action.
Despite the demands of court reporting, training institutions do not offer courses on reporting from the courts. Most of the focus is on media law and media ethics.
Despite the importance of courthouse reporting, judges, lawyers, and members of the public often complain about reporting that is inaccurate, biased, or short on content.
To equip journalists and improve their reportage of court proceedings, the Kenya Editors Guild has launched a guide for reporters on the court bit. Media stakeholders saying the guidelines will improve the quality of news reports from different departments of the judiciary.
I do not know anything Kenyan media cannot cover. Indeed, now all we need is the guidelines. Even as we are so free to cover courts, this is the way it should be done.
This is just the beginning, so the work now commences, the work of imparting the knowledge that's in the guidelines to the end users who are the reporters who report daily on court proceedings.
Court of Appeal President William Ouko lauded the initiative, appreciating the media's role as a watchdog for the society in the courtrooms.
The guidelines present a learning opportunity for reporters, as court reporting remains a technical area which requires constant reading. Indeed, apart from reporting in a war zone, court reporting may actually be the most demanding assignment for a reporter.
Ouko acknowledging the need for a judiciary information desk where journalists can get more information.
We only see it when we have a complaint that we have been misreported in our decision, but they do not take time to engage the media at the time decisions are delivered. They do not provide summaries, although in many courts, summaries are now provided, like in the Supreme Court. They summarize for you the judgment so that you do not make a mistake.
Noting the growth of social media as a source of news, Oko challenged mainstream media to continue upholding the tenets of professional journalism. The Guide to Court Reporting in Kenya comprises 8 chapters and also includes a glossary of legal terminologies, courthouse contexts, and list of judges and their stations. It will complement court reporting guidelines first published in 1998 by Frederick Ebert Stiftung Foundation. Suleiman Yeri, Channel 1 News.
To religious matters now, where there is controversy surrounding the actual number of deaths following a clash between 2 Legio Maria factions in Migori County. While police maintain that the actual number of people who died during the confrontation at Godquer Shrine are 5, a faction led by Pope Raphael Adika claims 12 people were killed and 2 are still unaccounted for.
Tension is still high in Godquer Shrine in Migori County following the Monday deadly clash between 2 factions of the Legio Maria sect. Migori County Police Commander Manasseh Musyoka earlier claimed that 2 people died during the confrontation between 2 feuding factions, while 3 others succumbed to gunshot wounds at Godquer Dispensary, where they were rushed for treatment. Early on Tuesday, faithful started making their way out of the shrine using any available means.
Na ile kitu ilirudi kunishangaza ni kwamba ilionekana ni kama serikali yenyewe hawakuwa kwa lugha moja. OCPD yule alitoka Pinyo ye alikuwa na ajenda yake. OCS wetu wa hapa alikuwa anajua ana jukumu kutulinda, ndiyo maana alituma maaskari hapa.
Those who could not manage to use public transport and motorbike were forced to walk back after word went around that there was an impending wave of fresh attacks.
Chofanyika hapa haikuwa mzuri hata kidogo. Tulikuwa na watoto wadogo wenye hawajijui. Hapa unaona kuna wamama wazee wenye hawawezi kukimbia.
The commotion was said to have ignited after a splinter group led by Pope Raphael Adika stormed the shrine for prayers, forcing their opponents led by Pope Lawrence Kalul, which is in Jerusalem, Amoyo, to hit back.
Tulisangiliwa na tia gasi ya lori mbili. Baada ya hapo tulipoingia hapa ndani tukaanza kutafuta maji ya kujiosha nazo uso. Kenya ninaomba Adika atuache na amani na tuombe Mungu.
The group accusing the rival faction of using police to intimidate faithful and breach peace that has been enjoyed for the past 2 weeks.
Ni lazima sisi tulindwe. Na nilishangaa kama walinzi wale tulikuwa tunategemea ndio wamegeuka kuwa adui yetu.
Kuna vile walikuwa wanapigana mpaka kivyao. Nasikia askari moja msichana aliumia sana. Sasa mimi nashindwa, hii ni justice ama hii ni nini?
Timothy Kipnusu for Channel 1 News.
Thank you, Timothy Kipnusu, for that report. Channel 1 News Hour takes a very short break. We still have plenty more lined up for you. Plus, of course, news from Jambojet. You can now charter a plane to wherever you want in the country, of course.
When the world changed, it made us go back to the simple joys and love the little things even more, like serving up your best, eating together, and sharing more. Now, we'll take nothing for granted and always remember to taste the simple joys. Coca-Cola. Taste the simple joys.
On the next episode of Ashoka.
Who invited these men here? Ashok will get a chance to escape if they learn about what led to the incident. I will have to do something.
Bless me so that the future generations
can also keep the stream of an united nation alive, that they maintain the dignity of their ancestors and make our clan proud.
On the next episode of Corner.
Are you always this controlling?
Well, I like my ladies to enjoy their food. Umenotiza so wengi sana wanavanisha nyakaronda basi. Enza kwa pia alichangia story ya mkadabuzi wangu kuvanish.
Hapana, basi amesema Jikingu Cheno yuko. Lakini kuna pia yamemweka kwa hiyo kesi.
Ajitaji.
Anaitwa Jamal. Si mmesema poa lakini yeye ndo anamshughulikia.
I think Sophia means that you should let him know where you are.
Gently kitu gani? Hiyo ni nonsense. Unafaa umwambie kile unataka.
Next on.
You know very well that you have my support.
I can't thank you enough. You know, I've never really stopped loving her. But I don't want her to think that I'm taking advantage.
Oh, nonsense, Francisco.
Sweetie, I'd really like for you to come back to the house.
No.
Because of me?
No. I feel like going home is taking 2 steps back.
Dan has been such a pig towards Fabiola, and I don't understand why he did that. I don't get it. I don't see the point in all of this.
In Love with Ramon.
Welcome back to the program. Rising water levels in Lake Baringo has submerged huge areas of farmland, forcing thousands of people to vacate their homes. There are now fears of a looming ecological disaster if nothing is done to stop the fast rising water levels.
This is Lake Baringo in Kenya's Great Rift Valley. It is a source of water to many people. After months of unusual heavy rain, the waters have risen to alarming levels. Thousands of acres of farmland have already been submerged, and hundreds of people have been displaced from their homes. There are fears that the waters are now threatening wildlife.
Tunaona milima imekuwa kidogo kwa sababu ya maji ambayo sasa tumeona wanyama karibu sasa ishinde mahali pa kutembea, na hiyo wanyama wanachukuanga distance mingi mrefu ambayo sasa tunaona sasa maji wamefunga mali walikuwa wakitembea. Hata saa hizi kuna wengine wamefungia kama mali pengine kidogo ambayo ikichukua saa hizi kama wiki 2-3 hata sasa koma kwa hiyo maji.
Residents have lost hope of seeing the waters receding and want action to save the vital tourism and agricultural sectors.
Mimi naona saa hii maji imeongezeka kwa kilomita karibu kilomita 1 saa hii kutoka Kutemi kama umbali hivi. Lakini saa hii tunaona maji imekuja sasa mpaka ile distance sasa ambayo ya milima imechukuliwa sana na maji ambayo sasa imebaki mali kidogo ambayo hatujui kama ikinyesha kuendelea kunyesha namna hii, hatujui kama itasamaliza mwaka ama itakuwa namna gani.
They say deforestation has led to the lake filling up the silt. Whatever the cause for the extreme weather changes in the region, it is a race for survival to escape the wrath of Mother Nature. Purity Museu, Channel 1 News.
Political leaders have been urged to focus on how to help the common mwananchi cope with the tough economic times brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic. Changamwe Member of Parliament Omar Mwinyi challenged elected leaders to stand in the gap and restore the confidence of constituents.
It is now 7 months since the COVID-19 pandemic was reported in the country. And while many sectors have been affected, education remains one of the worst hit. Students and teachers have greatly missed out on the year 2020 academic calendar. To add to their woes, scores of teachers in private schools have lost their jobs. In Mombasa County, Changamwe Member of Parliament Omar Mwinyi has come to the aid of 300 tutors in the area by donating foodstuffs.
The purpose of politics is to change the lives of people. Ama sivyo? Sasa, siasa zetu za Kenya hazijabadilisha mwelekeo wetu, wala mtazamo wetu, wala hali zetu. Ukienda Ulaya, unaona kile serikali inayokuja inajaribu vipi itaboresha maisha. Hapa Kenya, unaona bado wanaangalia ni vipi wao watabaki katika mamlaka. So, I think we are missing the point.
Beneficiaries, through their secretary Dominic Opole, lamented the loss of livelihood, saying they are staring at a bleak future.
The teachers are affected that they cannot even pay rent. Some have resorted. We had a case of suicide within Changamwe of a teacher which was very sad. Maisha inalemea walimu. Na tukiona a good gesture like this of Mheshimiwa, we are of much gratitude. It's a hope to someone who was about to give up. Inchi right now wakuna information concerning COVID-19. Let us protect ourselves, but don't kill us economically.
The teachers hope schools will be reopened soon so they can assist learners recover lost time. Reporting for Channel 1 News from Mombasa County, I'm Michael Mandiga.
Former Kiambu County Governor William Kabogo has called on President Uhuru Kenyatta to prioritize the war on corruption as part of his legacy alongside the Big Four development agenda. Elsewhere, border operators in Thika town have petitioned the police to crack down on rogue buses, especially those operated by Kenya Mpya, which they say have caused countless road carnages in the region.
We start in Thika town, where border operators have petitioned the police to crack down on rogue public service vehicles operated by Kenya Mpya bus firm. The operators spoke in Thika town after a procession with the remains of their colleague, 23-year-old Daniel Muigai, who was knocked down and killed by a Kenya Mpya bus on Monday last week.
Hata wale madereva ambao wanaoendesha haya magari, jambo la kwanza tungependelea kujua kana kwamba hawa madereva ni masacrifice waga wanatoa, kwa sababu kila ni vigumu sana usikie mwezi ama miezi mbili imeisha kabla kama hakuja gogwa na mtu na Kenya Mpya.
Namuomba gari zenyu pelekeni polepole. Wacha kuona ati wewe dereva ni wewe unajua kuendesha gari kusida dereva ule mwingine. Hapana, gari yako endesha polepole.
Still in Kiambu County, former Kiambu Governor William Kabogo has urged the head of state to ensure that those culpable of graft charges face the full force of the law. Speaking at the burial ceremony of a businessman, Peter Ngoru, at St. Francis Assisi Catholic Church, Kabogo said it was shameful that a few people are enriching themselves from funds meant to curb the spread of COVID-19.
Hata pesa ya COVID wanaiba, wanagoi, watu wana adabu kabisa. Watu wanakufa kwa kukosa dawa, watu wanakufa kwa sababu ya janga hili, watu wanakufa kwa sababu ya ukosefu wa ajira, na kazi yao ni wizi.
And a section of traders in Naivasha are accusing the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC, of laxity in addressing cases of hate speech among politicians in the country.
As much as we are doing politics, I think Africa, we are born and we know that we deserve to respect our forefathers, our parents, and in that regard, on behalf of Nakuru County and more so Naivasha, we feel that we take that with a lot of exception, and we tell them that they need to desist from dragging the name of the mother of the nation.
Meanwhile, Kenya Tea Development Agency KTDA directors drawn from Zone 8 in Kericho County have opposed tea regulations proposed by Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya. Led by Litein Tea Factory Director Richard Toh, the directors said the regulations do not address key issues, which include heavy taxation on the sector, tea prices, and subsidizing fertilizers.
The CS should instead take time to understand the ownership structure of the subsector before purporting to fix it.
And lastly, Kathiani Member of Parliament Robin Boy is accusing a section of politicians and top civil servants of setting bad examples by flouting the COVID-19 prevention protocols through political gatherings. He was speaking when he inspected CDF projects in his constituency.
Kama corona imekwisha, tuambiwe turudishe watoto wetu wapi? Shule. Tuambiwe tuanze kuingia kanisa sisi wote. Tutoe mambo ya kupima temperature, tutoe mambo ya kufanya hiyo sanitizing, tuache mambo ya kuhesabu watu wakiingia kwa kanisa, turudi kwa sherehe zetu na starehe zetu.
And further, failed authorities in Mozambique have launched investigations into the killing of a woman by alleged military officers in Cabo Delgado province. A video was posted online showing people dressed in army uniforms beating and killing the woman. Mozambican Minister of Defense is condemning the horrific, or in condemning the horrific footage, vowed to ascertain its authenticity. The Mozambican government has moved to quell growing anger over the killing of a woman in Cabo Delgado province. A 2-minute clip was shared online showing a woman being put to death by a group donned in military uniform. The Mozambican Defense Ministry has vowed to investigate the incident. In Lebanon, firefighters have put out a blaze at a shopping center in Beirut. The blaze, which is a third in a week, comes even as Beirut continues to reel from last month's devastating explosion that left dozens dead and hundreds of thousands displaced. Elsewhere, an annual report by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation reveals that the spread of the coronavirus has pushed global development back more than 2 decades. The report further indicates that tens of millions of people have been exposed to poverty, inequality, and disease. Meanwhile, Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny is set to return to Russia weeks after he was poisoned. Navalny posted a picture on Instagram announcing that he was breathing free of a ventilator. Finally, climate change has taken center stage in the U.S. presidential campaign. While touring fire-ravaged California, U.S. President Donald Trump downplayed the role a warming planet could have in the devastation. Trump suggesting that temperatures will start getting cooler and that the recent fires were caused by a lack of proper forest management. On the other hand, Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden labeled Trump a climate arsonist. We're taking another short break. When we come back, I'll be here with the business news.
This Wednesday on KBC Channel 1.
I'm here, my darling. If I listened to all of you, none of this would have happened.
No, you shouldn't beat yourself up. There's no use for that. It's done.
No, but what can I tell you? He pretended to be someone else and duped us like it was the easiest thing to do.
In love with Ramon.
While it look like a science book, a school magazine. And we fall in love like we did before. This is the best of me, giving you the best.
Ngimache gaska watu tegu, ngimache yat mugulel dangu, ngimache imanguge, nyange begi putinai. Lale, kimi give again. Lale, Kitrut FM gigosi. Lale, Kitrut FM gigosi. Kitrut FM gigosi.
98.0 Kitwek FM Kegosin.
Government is targeting to increase fish production 30 times to 100,000 metric tons over the next 1 year through promotion of commercialized aquaculture. The venture is powered by a 15 billion shilling financial support from the Fund for Agricultural Development (IFAD) that will be invested in 15 target counties. Fisheries Principal Secretary Professor Micheni Ntiba says the project is a revival of the fish farming project under the collapsed economic stimulus package that was rolled out in 2009.
Kenya saw fish production steadily increase from a meager 2,000 metric tons to 70,000 metric tons
after the rollout of the economic stimulus package in 2009. This was mainly from fish ponds in parts of the country. However, fish production has since dropped to 3,000 tons after aquaculture funding dried up. Now the government is targeting to increase this by more than 30 times to 100,000 metric tons in a year, thanks to a 15 billion shillings financing from the Fund for Agricultural Development.
The International Fund for Agricultural Development stated in Rome and the Kenyan government to commercialize aquaculture farming in 15 counties.
Professor Ntiba says plans for the commercial fish production targeting 15 counties are in efforts to reduce reliance on natural water ecosystem that are increasingly becoming unsustainable.
Fish is big business, it's big commodity for trade, it's material for industrial development, it's material that will grow jobs and wealth in this country.
The initiative is to encourage more farmers to venture into aquaculture for job creation, food security, and boosting nutritional requirements.
There's the science involved, there's the technology involved. We require quality fingerling. Our level internationally accredited fish quality laboratories here. We have a laboratory here in Kisumu. We are coming to open it very soon. We have the other one in Nairobi. Because
Kakamega, Migori, Homa Bay, Nyeri, Kirinyaga, and Meru are the 6 counties that have already rolled out the program. The PSA's 9 more counties are expected to do so in the next 2 weeks.
Desert locusts in parts of Samburu and Turkana counties have been contained to manageable swarms. Food and Agriculture Organization Deputy Country Representative Hamisi Williams says Kenya will soon be free from the locust invasion and plans to control a possible second wave are in top gear, including containing the locusts in Yemen.
The government last month said preliminary research showed that desert locusts were present in 2 counties of Turkana and Samburu. This was from a high of 28 counties that saw the invasive pest destroy food crops and pasture across the country. The Food and Agriculture Organization said the desert locusts in 2 counties have been controlled to an average of 3 swarms in a week from a high of 400 swarms a few months ago.
When it was at the peak, it was worse. We could get a lot of reports that would come, and they were real, and we were dealing with them at that time. So now we're okay.
FAO says Kenya was hardest hit with the locust invasion as compared to her East African counterparts due to rains in traditional drier regions of the country that provided fodder for the locust.
You got overly excess rainfall in these areas that are traditionally very dry. So you got lush pastures in these places. So when locusts came with wind, they got something to feed on. And so as they were feeding, they were able to breed and get into a generation.
The Food and Agriculture Organization is engaging the Yemeni government to assist to keep the Middle East country to contain swarms before they again migrate to the Horn of Africa region. Benson Rioba reporting for Channel 1 Business.
Low-cost carrier Jambojet has diversified into charter operations as it seeks to tap emerging consumer needs and boost its revenue stream. Jambojet Acting Managing Director Karanjan Degwa says the new business line aims at supplementing the scheduled flight operations.
The outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic saw travelers drastically scale down on traveling as countries imposed restrictions which hurt airlines. The International Air Transport Association, IATA, estimates that air traffic could reduce 51%, costing African airlines about $6 billion in lost passenger revenue this year when compared to 2019. This has seen airlines back to re-strategizing after they grounded most of their aircraft for 4 months due to COVID-19 pandemic. This has prompted Jambojet to enter the charter business targeting business people, families, and groups that may be attending social events such as weddings, corporates, missions, and humanitarian bodies with operations outside major towns to take up the charter operations.
The pricing is determined by quite a number of variable factors, be it the distance, be it the market, be it the costings are different from across the board. So what we do is that once you have where you want to go, you will share that with us and we'll cost it for you.
He says the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic has resulted in a shift in consumer needs, with some preferring privacy, convenience and their safety. This has pushed the airline into introduction of the non-scheduled service.
Charter is not a new thing in Kenya, and therefore we have already an existing market segment. Our objective is to come in and grow the business of charters. So we'll focus in the domestic, we'll look at regional.
The charter can accommodate up to 78 passengers per flight, depending on the route.
And to news making headlines in the world, Thailand has converted half its prisons into tourist attraction in a bid to boost its tourism industry as the Southeast Asian nation struggles to recover from the impact of the coronavirus. A prison in Ayutthaya, a city about 80 kilometers north of Bangkok, is one of the jails selected for an experiment by Thai authorities. Thailand seeks to open up to 72 of the country's 143 prisons to the public as a new type of tourism attraction. Here are the details of this and other stories in our international business news roundup.
For almost a century, it was the main jail in Ayutthaya. But when it could no longer cope with the growing number of inmates, a new prison was built, allowing the old jail to be turned into a rehabilitation center. Now, visitors can take a closer look at some of the daily activities performed by prisoners, such as taking part in construction projects, farming and cooking courses. Visitors will only be allowed to see inmates in workshops, farms or in a public cafe, but not in their jail cells. Meanwhile, the potentially damaging impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on food supplies has seen small-scale organic farms usher in greater business opportunities in Turkey. Rainbow Organic Farm is an agro-ecological dairy, meat and poultry enterprise situated in the western suburb of Istanbul. From chickens to goats, rabbits and ducks, animals at the farm have a lot of space to roam and feed on natural nutrient-rich soil. Among the most popular produce are the special green and blue eggs hatched by chickens kept free-range in different areas. The eggs, which contain higher protein and lower cholesterol levels, sell for $1.07 each. The farm currently has over 15,000 chicken of over 10 different species. Finally, officials in Venice, Italy, are exploring ways of developing the tourism industry under the epidemic conditions after holding the first physical festival in the city. The Venice Film Festival is the first physical international event since COVID-19 outbreak started earlier this year. While those in the hospitality industry welcomed the visitors, many residents are calling for limits. The festival indicates that the city is gradually returning to normal life, although many shops and restaurants remain closed. Since coronavirus restrictions were imposed in the spring, an estimated 50,000 people in the city have lost their jobs. Regina Manyara reporting for Channel 1 Business.
And in sports, Barcelona forward Lionel Messi has topped the Forbes list of highest earning footballers in 2020. Forbes estimated Messi's yearly earnings at $126 million, with Juventus forward Cristiano Ronaldo second on $117 million. Neymar was third, with Paris Saint-Germain teammate Kylian Mbappe fourth. Three English Premier League players, including Mohamed Salah, Paul Pogba and David De Gea, made the top 10, as did Real Madrid and Wales forward Gareth Bale. Argentine Messi tried to leave Barcelona at the end of last season and submitted a transfer request in August, but decided to stay because no club would be able to afford his release clause. Four-time Olympic champion Mo Salah of Britain says he will not defend his 5,000-meter title in Tokyo next year to focus on the 10,000 meters race. Farah won gold in both events at the 2012 London Games as well as the 2016 edition in Rio, and is bidding to become the first athlete to win the 10,000 meters 3 times at the Olympics. Earlier this month, Farah returned to the track after 3 years away to break the world record for the 1-hour run. The Tokyo Olympics, originally scheduled for this year, were postponed to July, August next year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Moroccan capital of Rabat has been confirmed as the host of next year's eagerly anticipated Confederation of African Football CAF presidential elections. Candidates are able to apply up to until 12th of November, with the election set to take place exactly 4 months later. Incumbent President Ahmed, who has endured a torrid time in charge of CAF, is in the wake of a string of financial mismanagement and sexual harassment accusations, has not confirmed whether he will defend his seat. Earlier this year, Egypt's former CAF General Secretary Amir Fahmy, who blew the whistle on the corrupt activities at Amhed, died of cancer at the age of 36, but shortly beforehand revealed the plan to try and unseat Ahmed by going for the region's top job himself. That does it for us for this edition of Channel 1 News Hour. We do thank you very much for keeping us company. My sign language interpreter has been Lucy Maura, and we leave you in the hands of Irene Muchuma Odim with the weather focus.
Good evening and a very warm welcome to Channel 1 Weather Updates. I hope you're well. Tuesday it is. My name is Irene Mchuma Odem. Tonight, most parts of the country have been covered with partly cloudy conditions, though there are showers accompanied by thunderstorms over a few places in the county of Kisumu and especially around the lake. These temperatures in Kericho stand at 11 degrees Celsius, and that is the coldest town tonight. Tomorrow, it will be sunny in Lodwar during the morning hours. The northeastern parts of the country, the Lake Basin region, western parts of the country, and the coastal strip will experience sunny intervals. There will be a bit of cloudiness during the early morning hours in the counties of Nairobi, Meru, and Nyeri. This will later on give way to sunny intervals. In the afternoon, we'll see changes over a few places in the country from the weather that we would have experienced during the early morning hours, and these will be showers accompanied by thunderstorms limited to Eldoret, Kericho, Kisii, and Kitale, the northeastern part of the country, the northwestern, the coastal strip, Machakos, Makindu, Voi, southeastern lowlands generally, and most parts of the country will continue to experience sunny intervals. Temperatures have gone up. Mandera will experience the highest at 37 degrees Celsius. And if the city was hot for you today, then tomorrow it will be hotter. Highs of 26 degrees Celsius. For you in Mombasa and Lamu, expect highs of 30 degrees Celsius. How about we cross the borders and have a look at the international forecast? Be well and see you tomorrow, God willing.